Alcaraz and Sinner have become the defining rivalry of men's tennis, dubbed Sincaraz by media and fans. A Grand Slam final. 2 sets to love down, and the broadcast camera holds on Alcaraz a beat too long, waiting for the panic that never comes. Rewind past that moment. Before it, these two had already stood across the same net 16 other times. 17 professional meetings. The scoreboard on the whole rivalry reads 10-7, and it belongs to the younger man, Alcaraz, which should not add up. Sin has lived at world number 1 for 59 weeks, Alcaraz 36. So the man who is ranked behind more often is the man who wins more often between them. The tension lives in that gap. Split it by ground and the picture sharpens. On clay, Alcaraz leads 3-1. On hard court, 6-2. Then grass, 2-0, Sinner. And when a match refuses to end, when it stretches to a 5th set, Alcaraz has never lost to him. 3 times the distance, 3 times Alcaraz. But move it indoors to the season-ending ATP Finals, and SINE takes that column 2-1. It is 2022. New York, the quarterfinals, their first real war. Alcaraz is down 2-0 deep into the night, and he claws it back over 5. That was the overture. In 2025, they did something no 2 men in tennis history had ever done, contesting 3 consecutive Grand Slam finals in a single season. Paris, Alcaraz from 2 sets down. Wimbledon, Sinner in 4, snapping Alcaraz's 5-match streak over him. New York, Alcaraz again, reclaiming the crown. Add it all up and the majors read 5-4. Alcaraz, 9 Grand Slams shared between 2 men who are 23 and 25. Neither has reached his prime. And there is exactly one surface where Alcaraz has never once solved him, the surface where the next Wimbledon will be decided. It is June 2025. Roland Garros, the final, and you are 2 sets down to Jannik Sinner, the coldest closer the game has produced in a decade. 2 sets down to Sinner should be a death sentence. Alcaraz climbs out of it set by set and drags the trophy back across the net. 1 month later, on grass, the debt comes due. Center Court, July. Sin does not blink, closes it in 4 sets, and the 5-match spell Alcaraz had held over him finally snaps. September now, New York, under the night lights. Alcaraz walks back into a major final and takes the whole thing straight back. 3 consecutive major finals, the same 2 men. Go back through every season the sport has ever played. Borg and McEnroe never managed it. Federer and Nadal at their peak never managed it. No 2 men had ever met in 3 straight Grand Slam finals in a single year, until these 2 did in 2025. The sport already gave them one name, Sincaraz. Add up the silverware and it barely separates them. 5 majors to 4, 9 sitting between 2 rackets. Alcaraz holds more titles overall, into the low 20s against Sinner's 20. Sinner holds more time on the throne, 59 weeks at world number 1 to 36. Alcaraz is 23, Sin is 25. Neither has hit his prime. Every number here says deadlock, 2 men splitting history straight down the middle. But sit courtside for 1 rally and they stop looking like rivals and start looking like opposites. One built to outlast you over 5 brutal sets, one built to end the whole thing inside 20 minutes. That difference is the real engine of this rivalry, and it decides everything that comes next. It is September 2025. New York. The same 2 men walk out for a Grand Slam final, and if you have been counting, this is the 3rd time this year. Same 2 chairs, same handshake at the net. Stop and look at that. It had never happened before. Not once in the whole history of the sport had the same two men reach the season's biggest finals back to back to back. Rivalries owned decades. None of them ever owned a single summer like this. To reach one major final, you survive a 2-week gauntlet, round after round, any of them a trapdoor. To do it 3 times in 1 year, both of you, neither can slip even once. Go back and try to find it. Pick any decade you like, the greats trading trophies for years. The draw still never bent this way. One of them always fell to a name you forgot, in a round nobody remembers. For both of them to arrive 3 straight times, everyone else in tennis had to lose. In 2025, everyone else did. It almost broke on the very first try. In Paris, one of them sat 2 sets down in the final, a handful of points from handing the whole thing away before it began. He did not hand it away. Weeks later on grass, the run that everyone assumed belonged to one of them flipped. The other took the second final and snapped a 5-match streak against him. By New York, they were level, and the third final would decide who walked out of the greatest season this rivalry has ever had, holding the last word. This was not luck lining up. It was 2 players so far clear of the field that the final was booked before the first ball was struck, a lockout the sport had never seen stacked into 12 months. And the whole thing, the record that will sit in the books forever, nearly did not exist. It all hung on those few points in Paris, one man serving to stay alive in a season. What happened in that single game is where this rivalry was really decided. Forget that one game in Paris for a moment. Step away from the 17 meetings, quit counting them by year, and lay them out a different way, by what was under their shoes when the last ball dropped. Do that, and the balance breaks. It is July 2025. Center court, the grass worn to brown behind the baselines, and it is Sinner holding the trophy over Alcaraz in 4 sets, snapping a 5-match losing run against the Spaniard in one afternoon. On grass, Sinner has never lost to him. 2 matches, 2 wins, a clean, unbeaten wall. Now drop the surface, and the story flips. Roland Garros, the red clay dragging every ball a fraction slower, and Alcaraz claws back from 2 sets down to take the 2025 final. On clay, it is Alcaraz who leads 3 wins to 1. And on the hard courts, the concrete that rewards the biggest, cleanest strike in the game, the gap turns into a canyon. Alcaraz leads there 6-2. And that dominance is exactly what reclaimed the 2025 US Open title. Same 2 men, same 17 matches. Sort them one way and Alcaraz owns the rivalry, 10-7 overall. Sort them by ground and he is a landlord on 2 surfaces and a stranger on the 3rd. And this is the part that should keep you up. Grass is the fastest court in tennis, the one closest to the hard courts where Alcaraz wins 6 of every 8. His speed, his touch, his angles should feast on it. Instead, the slower, flatter, more relentless man from the mountains owns it outright, and the explosive one has no answer. The surface that should belong to Alcaraz belongs to Sinner alone. So what does a lawn do to these 2 that concrete and clay do not? Something about those blades of grass reverses the whole rivalry, and until you understand it, you will never know who actually wins the next Wimbledon. 9 major titles, 2 men, and a blank space where the 3rd should be. It's a Sunday night in a broadcast studio, and an analyst is filling a whiteboard with the sport's future. He writes one name, he writes the second. Then his marker just hovers, because the column for the challenger, the one every era has always had, stays empty. Every great age of tennis came with a gatecrasher, a 3rd man who stole a final nobody thought he could. This one arrived with the door already bolted. Watch what happens when a rival goes hunting for the crack. A coaching box at a major, 3 men around a laptop, scrubbing tape frame by frame for the weakness that lets a stranger in. They keep finding the same answer everyone finds. The answer is age. Alcaraz is 23. Sinner is 25. Neither is anywhere near the years when a body starts to slow. The field waiting to replace them isn't younger and hungrier. It's the same age or older, and both men have already beaten it. Any major these two contest is a major nobody else gets to win. Losing that often does something quiet to a career. It teaches the rest of the tour where the ceiling is. The top two get richer. The field gets the memo. Which is why analysts have stopped talking in seasons. They're penciling both names into finals that don't happen until the 2030s, projecting a sport owned outright for a decade by two men who can't stop meeting each other. But no duopoly in the history of the sport has ever lasted the way the projection assumes. Something always breaks it, usually from the inside. And the fault line is already drawn into the numbers. There are 22 months between them. They did not arrive together, and they will not leave together. So the 2030s don't belong to a rivalry. For a window of years, they belong to whichever one is still standing when the other slows first. The age math already knows his name, and roughly the season he inherits the sport alone. If this brought the match back to you, subscribe for the next one.